Hi guys, this is Nick from Pathway to Oz. Today I'm going to discuss with you, the benefits of the Gold Coast and Perth being classified as regional areas. I'm going to talk about how it affects you and what opportunities it may open up for you. So the decision for immigration to classify Perth and the Gold Coast as a regional area is really part of immigration's bigger plan to sort of push migrants into cities outside of Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne. At the moment, about 70% of migrants go to Sydney, Brisbane or Melbourne, and the Australian government has decided to try and disperse them evenly across Australia. So how does it affect you? Well, firstly, if you study for at least 2 years in a regional area, so on the Gold Coast or in Perth, you can claim an additional 5 points for general skilled migration. This can be huge when you're going for the different sort of permanent visa options in the future, skilled independent, state nominated, or the skilled work regional visa, which we'll talk about. In addition to this, the government has also decided to allow applicants who study on the Gold Coast or in Perth or other regional areas the ability to gain a 3-year graduate visa. So you get an additional year on your graduate visa. Please note, in order to get the additional year on the graduate visa, you not only have to study on the Gold Coast or in Perth, but you also need to study at a higher education level, so a bachelor level or higher. So applicants studying, most trades or, diploma and certificate programs won't be eligible for that extra year. The biggest change, and what I think is most important and going to have the biggest impact on, applicants looking to migrate to Australia, is that Gold Coast and Perth are now classified as regional, which means you will be eligible to apply for the skilled work regional visa, the Subclass 491, and the employer-sponsored regional visa, the Subclass 494. These visas are going to be brought in by immigration on the 16th of November. Both of these visas open pathways to permanent residency, and you can get these visas when you're working in a lot of different occupations. So you've got pathways to permanent residency and access to a lot of different occupations. So firstly, I'll talk about the 491 visa or the skilled work regional visa. So applicants can apply for this now on the Gold Coast and in Perth, which is awesome. The skilled work regional visa is part of the general skilled migration visas. So skilled independent 189, state nominated or skilled nominated 190, and the skilled work regional 491. There's a separate link down below for a video we made specifically on the 491 visa. So these visas offer, as I said before, pathways to permanent residency, and the 491 visa does not require you to have an employer to sponsor your visa. Instead, you get nominated by the state or regional area. In addition, when applying for the 491 visa, you get an additional 15 points on the immigration points test. So if you study in a regional area and then apply for the 491, so you're living and working there, you get an additional 20 points. That's huge. That's huge. In order to apply for the 491 visa, your occupation must be on the state or regional occupation list. So you can access these lists through the state websites. They're separate from the standard medium to long-term or short-term skilled occupation list. And there's a lot of different jobs which aren't on there. Please note, the Queensland list is currently closed, but will open again in November. Now I want to talk about the skilled employer-sponsored regional visa, the Subclass 494 visa. So this is a new visa being brought in November for applicants who are living and working in a regional area. So Perth and Gold Coast are now regional areas, so you can apply for this visa. This visa is replacing the previous 187 RSMS visa, which was the previous employer-sponsored visa. So as it is an employer-sponsored visa, the process is quite similar to the standard TSS visa. So you've got to get a company that's willing to sponsor you. So standard business sponsorship, they need to nominate you for the position, and then you need to submit the visa application. One of the benefits of this is you have access to a whole bunch of different lists. So the regional occupation list with over 700 different occupations, you can now access. I think the biggest thing about the Subclass 494, the skilled work regional visa, is that it offers a pathway to permanent residency. So if you're a restaurant manager, for example, on the Gold Coast or in Perth, you now have the option to potentially, once you apply for your visa, live and work in your regional area for 3 years. You have the possibility to then move over to the permanent visa. Whereas if you're a restaurant manager in Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane, you can get the TSS visa, maybe roll that over, which is a temporary employer sponsored visa. You have a total of 4 years you can live there, and then that's it. There's no pathway to permanent residency. So this will clearly encourage migrants to move to these cities if they are interested in applying for permanent residency. So obviously this is very welcome news, and I actually think it will really encourage people to migrate, live, work and study in Perth and the Gold Coast. If you have any specific questions about your situation, feel free to contact Pathway to Oz and we'll discuss. Thank you.